Happy new moon in Aquarius, you guys. I am filming this one day into that new moon energy, so the light has started to grow. So we're officially in the waxing phase, but we're still within the energy of that Aquarius new moon. There's a lot going on right now, and it's no coincidence that all of the astrology overlays with the point in the year that we're at with the portions of the Torah. So there is a daily portion of the Torah that corresponds to every day of the year that gives us insight and wisdom to navigate the energy that is assigned to that day per year. We go through this cycle of 365 days. Each day has a particular energy that we need to face and navigate and correct our soul within these energies that present during these days per year. So the portion of the Torah assigned to the day is meant to give us the manna of the day, if you will, the nourishment to meet that day. It gives us our daily need. What are the hints and the footnotes that we need to focus on to navigate the day, to have victory over the day, to not be overtaken and overwhelmed by the challenges of that day, but to be able to find the opportunities in them. So all of this energy right now that's going on is actually perfectly on time with the portions of the Torah. No coincidence, no accident. And we're still within that first 6-week period of the beginning of the Gregorian calendar, which is this, I'm blanking on the Hebrew name for this 6-week period, but it overlaps Capricorn season. So it's all of Capricorn season plus 2 weeks. And during that time of year, it's one of the more, like, there's positive times of year, there's more negative times of year, and then more negative times of year, the times of year where we face more challenge and judgment and upheaval and chaos and disruption. And so this is in order to bring forth our ego or our shortcomings or where we still have density and toxicity within us, so that we can see it, right? If it's not triggered, then we can't see it. It's just festering under the surface, invisible. So these times of year serve us because they kind of take a highlighter to all the things in the workbook that we need to focus on come quiz time, come test time. These are the things that we still need to transmute in order to make it to that next level, to get that next level of our soul, to awaken the next level of our fulfillment and potential. So it usually, is just like a birth. It comes with pain and contraction in order to push something through, a new life, a new birth, or a rebirth, even, if you will. So Aquarius we're in our lunar new year, where the lunar year starts over, and the moon governs the unseen, right? So lots of things that have been unseen are now being seen. People are, and things and situations are coming out and showing the truth of who they are, rather than who maybe that situation maybe appeared to be. That's usually the theme of the moon. If you narrow it down, it's like things aren't all as they appear to be. There are hidden things beneath the surface. A full moon brings things out, an illumination, and a new moon plants seeds. But this new moon, and I'm not the only one who's been saying this, but it just feels like a full moon. It's got a lot of full moon energy. So the full moon or the moon, the lunar cycles are also, they govern our internal world, our emotional states, our subconscious and our unconscious states. So, the moon is really like the governor of our internal feminine, right? It's the divine feminine as far as like the celestial bodies go. So there is a rebirth of spirit and who we are from the inside out right now. And it is not without labor pains, that is for certain. Everything is just so intensified at the moment. It feels like everything has just been turned up to 11, if you will, if you know the Spinal Tap reference. But so the new moon right now that we're in is Aquarius. That is a fixed air sign. It's a masculine sign. And any of the other fixed signs will be feeling this more poignantly than any of the other signs. So Aquarius is, in its higher octaves and its best sense, it is very like humanistic, humanitarian. It thinks out of the box. It's revolutionary. It's original. It's unique. It's individualistic. It's inventive. It's creative. It thinks outside of the box. It marches to the beat of its own drum. So in a good way, this is the energy of reinvention and of being the rebel and rebellion and speaking out and being, an individual and being original and coming up with new ideas and innovations. But at Aquarius's worst, it's kind of the least empathic, empathetic, sympathetic sign. It's an air sign. It's very like, King of Swords, not very romantic. It's not very touchy-feely. It's very cerebral, right? Have you ever met someone who's like very cerebral? No matter how good looking they are just not cuddly. There's nothing, like there's no fire, there's no warmth, there's no earth there or something. So yeah, no water. I don't know what it is, but they are so cerebral that you're just like, I can't make a connection. That can be that kind of energy. So it can become cold and calculated and so alienated, or often you see Aquarius and you see images of aliens because they're out of this world, right? They can be futuristic. But this can also be like when you see that science has gone too far and it's lacked compassion, and the downside or the destructive nature of human advancement, when our technology advances faster than our consciousness or our capacity to responsibly steward that technology. And then you get human disasters that we think of throughout history where the advancement has actually worked against us. People are always a little bit leery of robots because all of the prophetic artists of our time, I'm going to start calling these artists like the post New Testament prophets, but they depict what AI and what robots could, go to in extremes, and artificial intelligence becoming sentient. And I mean, think about it. Like, when has there been, like, other than what is that, Wall-E? And then maybe like R2D2 and C3PO, like they're cute, nice little robots, but otherwise pretty dark. I don't know if you've seen RoboCop or Terminator or Westworld or AI, but it's like it does not go well, because with strength and genius without empathy and without soul, it's just dangerous, right? So I think we're seeing the juxtaposition kind of coming out and boiling up to the surface, where things have been festering underneath the surface. Things are really being revealed in a new way, and it's jolting and like that lightning strike that turns everything upside down. The plot point in the story that calls the hero to adventure, where everything the hero thinks that they know and their world gets turned upside down. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but welcome to plot point 1 in at the beginning of the first act. We thought everything was one way, and now everything has just been turned upside down. Plus aliens. Aquarius, wait, age of Aquarius, welcome, we're here. So yeah, a lot of revolutionary shifts going on at every level, physical, heart, soul, mind, our the way that we perceive and see the world. We're questioning even some people for the first time recently. They're being jolted into realizations where they're questioning what they thought they knew, what they thought was so solid. Many of us have been going through that process for a long time. But, and we did it before we had to jump timelines. Remember, I've been saying, if you don't give this up, every eclipse is going to get harder. Every timeline, now that we've jumped over the timeline, like if you hang on to the past, it's going to get more and more and more grotesque. And it's going to get morose, and it's going to get difficult and painful and toxic. So those of us who have been doing the cleanup already in our perspective, it's like we are at the forefront of the shift. And so we have to be ready to, be there as the rest of humanity is going through the turmoil of the initial onset of a spiritual awakening, which is a rude awakening. We've all been there. It's a divine shitstorm. So we are in the midst of another divine shitstorm, only we have learned how to weather the storms, and we've invested in rain gear. So, think about that as we shift our consciousness towards, because so the nodes of the moon have shifted from Aries and Libra, how we perceived ourself, our self-image, and our self-identity, and how we related to other and the world. So now that we got that cleaned up, now it's like about, okay, embodiment and expressing the light of the Creator to others. The nodes have shifted to the North Node being in Pisces, which is our most spiritually connected, awakened, wise self that has a vessel that has no real desire to receive for the self, but the desire to receive for the sake of sharing, for the sake of service. The Pisces can be a little bit dreamy, but they're also the most soulful and deep. And so it's like, and then we've got Virgo in our South Node. Virgo at its best is about being of service and giving, and being like the vessel. But Virgo at its worst, at its best, like the vessel is in the virgin, right? The pure vessel that is the vessel for sharing. But at its worst, Virgo is haughty. It is better than the other. It is overly hypercritical. It is perfectionistic. It's puritanical. It's all of those things that get heightened to extreme, right? So we're leaving that rigidity and that judgment and that harshness and that criticalness behind. And now we're getting into a state where we're giving up that kind of illusion of control, giving the control to the Creator, leading and being led by spirit, and being more in flow rather than being rigid and trying to stick to this rigid playbook, right? We have to be we can't be so severe. We can't be so hard on ourselves. And then we have to be led by faith. And our faith is growing, and our certainty is growing in the Creator. That fish is the Jesus fish. Pisces is related to the Christ, right? So I think that there is this stirring of the shit, right? So we can see it all so clearly, and it's just repugnant, and it is really awakening an awakening of that Christ consciousness, whether or not you consider yourself religious, Christian or not. And the biggest obvious place that I'm seeing it, because it's so contrasting, is in atheists, agnostics, and pagan people of that kind of persuasion. They had such a traumatic experience with the church growing up that usually is what has led to their extreme rejection of it. But none of them have ever, that I have known personally, have ever said that they don't like Jesus or they don't believe in Jesus. And so now, with everything that was coming out in the news recently with Bishop Budd, people are like, wow, that's so refreshing. It's amazing to see someone just give a sermon that is in defense of the meek and the disenfranchised and the, you know, and actually practicing and modeling the real teachings of Jesus and the Christ. And so people have been so inspired by that moment and encouraged and heartened by it. And then when there was so much backlash, who stood up and fought for Jesus, the real Jesus, but freaking witches, Wiccans, atheists, agnostics. It's amazing to see it, right? So it's so cool how all of this is being, that's what we talk about when we talk about faith beyond reason, that the Creator can take anything and shift that to lift up the glory, right? Of the Christ consciousness, right? So, and the glory of the light and the glory of your higher, your higher destiny, the destiny that is of the highest good, that reveals love and sharing and your true spirit, your true soul, and your true identity. So, we also, let's see, Aquarius, the nodes, the sun is conjunct Mercury. So again, we're just like, there's this extra light and illumination and emphasis right now on like what we think and why we think that, and questioning, oh, am I thinking clearly, and questioning how we perceive things. We're having new ideas, and we're renewing our perspective with all of this spiritual growth that we've been going through. Now that we're putting it into action, it's like the awakening of this new mindset is coming through, and this new sort of mentality and consciousness. So Pluto is in Aquarius right now. So Pluto is death and transformation and resurrection and rebirth, and it's definitely like we're in this moment where we're having a revolution of like mindset and the mind and how we perceive things, a revolution of technology, all kinds of things. But the what is toxic and destructive is being revealed because it's not going to be working. So it's being shown so that it can be repaired, renewed, healed. What is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have going on? I love my Magick of I day planner. It's awesome. It's got all the aspects. Looking at my notes. Pluto in Aquarius, Mercury is conjunct Pluto. So Mercury, when it's conjunct, it's connected to Pluto. So Mercury is also conjunct Pluto. So that is also having like, we're really shifting on not only our consciousness and our mindset, but like our thoughts, the way that we're really thinking about things is shifting in a major way. The sun and the moon are both trine Jupiter. So we're looking deeper into the philosophy of it all, like of the why, right? Where, like, search yourself, search to the root of your origin story. How did you arrive at these beliefs and these thoughts and these perceptions, which is also being supported by the Mars square Chiron. So the Chiron is the wounded healer, and Mars is the warrior. And so it's like we're seeing how our pain and our wounds have made us aggressive, or have made us hostile, or made us the aggressor, or like when our wounds get triggered, how do we immediately react in ways that are aggression or aggressive, or even like snippy or hostile, because of the feeling of being powerless on the inside, because of that wounded child. You know, how is that wound causing us to act out in ways that make us the aggressor and make us aggressive? So we're seeing that and we're healing that. Venus is trine Neptune. So we're again healing because Venus is also about to go retrograde. So we have to go back and reconsider what fills our life with security, what gives us a sense of beauty and nourishment. And, you know, like what did we dream of that we thought would bring us beauty? Like, we need to reconnect with that without getting into a fantasy world of escaping into overindulgence. We need to do this in a way that's healthy and moderate while we're reconsidering and rethinking and going back. Okay, what do we value in love? What do we value in relationship? What brings us like deep fulfillment and pleasure and joy and abundance in our life? And we need to give special care to that, especially in times of challenge. We have to keep nourishing our soul, and we have to hold on to joy, right? That's very important during these times. And also to be able to continue to be creative even within challenges. You know, it's so easy to get brain fog and feel like unmotivated when we're feeling depressed and overly stimulated and frightened and angry and hostile. And we need to channel all of these feelings into that creativity. Keep active, keep doing things, right? So Jupiter will be going direct in the next couple of days. So that will give us a new sense of expansion and optimism and enthusiasm. It's really going to start lightening up that energy. So we're back into that lighter octave of Aquarius, feeling optimistic, feeling like we are up to the task, you know, and ready to get our butts in gear again, right? We've got Uranus direct in Taurus, which again is like just like what we were talking about with Venus trining Neptune. It's like, how are we approaching our security and our long-term like value and our long-term legacy and our long-term security, rather than just thinking about instant gratification or overindulgence? It's like, where can we restrict our impulses in order to yield true value, true security, true beauty down the line? And then we will have Mars going direct finally within the next 3 weeks or so. And so then we'll be feeling like all of the stuff that we've been trying to make happen, that we just feel like we can't get going. It's like suddenly things will start collecting more momentum and more steam. But we're just in like the thick of it right now. It's like being thrown into a blender, and it's just, there's so much going on, but it's good. In the end, it will be, it's challenges that really create evolution and awakening and change. And so we are going into the age of Aquarius, which is all about, you know, unity and brotherhood and sisterhood, and I like to say being one big human family, you know, and thinking about the greater good versus thinking about the self alone. And so I'm hoping that this is a renaissance of the creative, pure human spirit. And I mean, so many of the, like I was gonna say the young people today, but they are, I mean, like there's so much creative genius out there that can be used to solve the world's issues and world's problems. And we can really take them on if we can connect with that inner genius and that creative consciousness, that creator consciousness that wants to heal, that wants to help, that wants to serve. So when we get into when we shift our intention for the sake of humanity and we use our inventiveness that way, then there's no limit to what I think human beings are capable of. But just like every ancient civilization that we hear legends of, when our technology surpasses our capacity for humanity, then we are our own demise and we are hoisted by our own petard. So With no further ado, let's get into our reading. Our first card out is rest and recuperate. So in the context of this moment, we have to find a sustainable pace. We're still in winter. January has been 10 years long officially. So, we feel like we're like, I'm ready for spring. I'm ready to be productive. We're still in January. We still have February and part of March, about 6 official more weeks of winter. So, and it's going to still feel like winter after that. So don't be in a rush. Still let it do its thing. Still be doing the reflective work and the healing and the envisioning and the root work of the research and the groundwork and all of that stuff. And, come a few weeks from now, the energy will start pushing forward. But right now, continue to rest and recuperate as you can. Lots of things have been stirred up in the atmosphere amongst the whole planet. And so right now, our energy needs to be restored. All of the emotions up in the air right now, all of the thoughts, all of the everything, it's intensified. So we all need to take care of our nervous systems so that we are in the calmest place to manifest from. Oh my God, what's crossing us is prosperity and abundance. Lord, I know it doesn't seem like that, but you know what? One thing that came up in one of my Kabbalah teachers' videos the other day that was so poignant, they made a point that says it doesn't matter what the conditions are of what is happening all over the world at any given time. If you are in unison and unity with the Creator and you are in certainty, then you can be in a bubble of prosperity and blessing and protection no matter what is going on around you. And I have lived that truth and I have known that truth. And, it's the thing about your consciousness, though, is that you can slip back and forth, right? So we have to practice to stay in that state of certainty. It's a lot easier when we're trying to do it from being rested, nourished, and regulated than if we are frazzled and undernourished and been out of shape. So take care of yourself and just keep believing that good things are coming from even this darkest moment, just like dark fertile soil, because things can shift, things can turn around. The whole world has our back right now. It really does. All right. Okay. So the subconscious influence right now affecting us is irrational fears. It's really easy to let our imaginations run wild, to let our deepest, darkest fears start creeping up, because that's part of the theme of Capricorn season. It's like, here are your fears, here are the ghosts of all your past patterns and your old fears and all of these things. It's basically like, let's take the temperature here and see where you're at in your development. Okay, if I put this illusion in front of you, how much have you detached or transcended or healed or overcome from this particular trigger, right? Fear. So fear, don't let any fears cause you to make decisions right now or major choices, right? I mean, so many people, even just from the California fires, are trying to figure out where to relocate to and why and how to move forward and what's going to be the best for them. And regardless of what your kind of big things like that, you really don't need to be making choices based in fear, because those are seeds that are planted with chaos attached to them. But because you're being affected, right? And so even if you think you're making a logical choice that looks logical, it's like there's going to be the seeds of chaos are going to be woven into that choice because you made it in a state of fear, reacting to a panic. So don't react to your fears, right? See the fear and do productive change and transformation according to the information that is true that you can derive from what's frightening you. But most fear is false evidence appearing real. It is the illusion. It is the ego. It is the opponent trying to plague your mind with fear. That's the absolute, favorite trick of the opponent. There's a masculine Satan and a feminine Satan. And the masculine Satan likes to give us the initial trap that we fall into, the initial fear or temptation to do the wrong thing, to make the reactive action. And then the feminine Satan comes in afterwards and instills double light by making us feel like crap about it, making us even more afraid, even making us feel guilty and shameful and all of these things. So, you really have to turn the volume down on the fear, because the Holy Spirit is not going to speak to you in a voice that is a fearful, fear-mongering voice. It just won't. It does not vibe on that frequency. Okay, so the past issue that has been plaguing you, the lessons that you've learned that are sorting themselves out and are starting to dissipate, is the law of attraction has been activated. So like attracts like. So and what we have done and what we have attracted has a lag. So in a way, it's like the seeds we've been sowing are catching up to us. And it's like the rubber's hitting the road and it feels like Judgment Day. So in a way, we're seeing what this snowball of consciousness has been made that's catching up to us. But like I said, it's on a delay. So the zeitgeist really is shifting, and the mindset and the hearts of humanity are shifting. But what we're creating now, we are pushing against the momentum of all of that which was already manifested. So we are in a period of breaking shells of the past and birthing forward what is new, what's coming. But we're in an awkward phase where we're neither here nor there. We're in the hardest part. So the law of attraction has been activated. And the more that we transform ourselves as individuals, that number amasses. And it has an effect on the collective manifestation and the collective vibration of the planet. So you doing your own work on yourself and within the small, little circle that you have in your life makes a difference. So just do what you can and don't be overwhelmed by things that are out of your reach, out of your control, out of your pay grade, out of your lane, honestly. So do everything that comes to you that's your assignment. What is crowning us now? Say what you've been needing to say. So it's important now that we have integrity, right? And if we feel like it's important for us to speak our truth or authentically, we need to be prepared to do that in gentle ways that are loving and non-coercive and very gingerly about the way that we communicate. But we need to be truthful, and we need to focus on optimistic solutions over toxic positivity. And we need to focus on the way that we're talking about things so that we're not doing evil tongue and speak negative speech, but we need to say what we've been needing to say. Something needs to be said or clarified. You won't know until you say something. Clear the air. Put your cards on the table. An honest discussion will act as a catalyst. You won't know until you speak up. You need to communicate something in order to resolve the situation. The air needs to be cleared. The damage is mounting under miscommunication, lack of understanding, lack of communication, and poor boundaries. Sometimes problems occur because we just don't know what someone has needed. But it's their responsibility to communicate their needs, feelings, and preferences and deal breakers. The same goes for you. Healthy communication requires vulnerability, wisdom, compassion, and an open, patient heart. Before communicating, pray that the Creator will tell you what to say, if anything, exactly when and to whom. Imagine having the loving exchange soul to soul with this person before you ever approach them in the physical. Before you confront this, ask, Can this person even hear me? Will this do more damage than good? What are my real intentions here? Is it easier to say something or easier to stay quiet? Because what you're being asked to do is probably the lesser comfortable. So it's probably asking you to go out of your comfort zone and do what is coming less impulsively, less easily. Whether or not to say something or keep it in until the timing is right. Because we have to be able to do this. This is a mother healing issue. This is an issue of self-love. So both of these came up with that. So healing mother issues actually has an effect on your self-worth and your self-love. So just interpret that as you will. So the more that we heal our mother wounds and how we feel about our mother, and we understand, you know, their own shortcomings, and they're not the perfect archetypal mother, no one is, then we take what transpired in our younger years that left us with insecurities and feelings of shame and guilt that affected our self-worth. We start taking our mothers less personally, and we can shift the way that we perceive the things that we took on and let kind of like dim us down or hold us back. So, and then that raises our self-worth, and so we attract in better opportunities for sustenance and love and relationships. So what is coming up around the corner? It's time to take action. So that energy is shifting. It's like we're getting into gear again. So take inspired action, yang energy. Follow your inner guidance. Wasting time will cause discontent, stagnation, and even chaos. Support from the universe. Divine timing meets preparedness. Catch the wave of magic. So just be ready to catch the wave of energy coming, and inspiration and motivation. So this is your perspective that's affecting you at the moment. Usually negatively. Stop obsessing. So again, we need to really cut back on the doom scrolling. Rob Bell's most recent podcast about like what we need to talk about for 2025 or something like that. He talks about cleaning up the clicks, right? It's so easy to get drawn into propaganda and clickbait and fear mongering and getting like overly worked up about things, and it's not productive. What is productive is maybe follow some like serious politicians that you respect, that have good social media, and they can update you on current issues and events and things in a professional, neutral way that's helpful and informative. And if you can also get some independent news sources and just dip into that really fast, get the current information that you need and get out. Don't dwell on it. Don't obsess. Don't let your mind go into catastrophe mode, because that's what the opponent wants. He wants to distract you from your real calling, from all the beauty that you could be creating and revealing the light of your soul in the world. Instead, you feel like weighed down by all the problems that we have to just make it through and survive week after week, right? So we can't get bogged down by that. You know, every generation has seen and gone through these struggles, and most of the other, countries in the world have faced their trials and tribulations. And so we're all in this together. Everyone, goes through their moments of dark days. And so we can't let this completely defeat us, because sometimes this is when the most beautiful human creation comes out, right? The most beautiful art, the most beautiful writings, the most beautiful songs, the most amazing, advancements in medicine and environmental repair. Okay, so what is the outer influence affecting us right now? We are fretting. Everyone is fretting. There is just fear and gloom and doom everywhere. We can't get obsessed, because this is when we are in an emotional state of survival, when our subconscious feels like it's in survival mode. We're so easily manipulated and twisted up. And so we just really have to stop fretting. We have to stop obsessing, and we have to put our energy and our focus and intent on seizing the moment to create beauty and to seize opportunity and to reveal the light of the Creator in the world and to help one another and add to neighborliness and add to the beauty and the love in your community, right? And that goes a long way. You know, it changes people from the inside out when they are surrounded by support and acceptance and community. So the hopes and fears, your destiny is calling you. I know I can feel the irony of it being a hope and a fear right now that your destiny is calling you, because I think that, you know, it's like the quote that people are bringing up right now that Frodo says to Gandalf. He said, I wish this hadn't have happened in our time. And Gandalf says, I know, you know, me too, but it's not for us to decide what happens during our time, but what we do during the time that we're given. And so, yes, many of us have been feeling like we have a higher calling to show up in some big way. And now we're like, oh, okay. It feels a lot like being that person that gets swept up in over their head in an action movie a little bit right now. I know, as like a person who's been, you know, having like prophetic dreams and stuff my whole life, and just having like my own apocryphon going on behind my eyelids, I've been almost afraid of what, like, you know how they say like what you're going through is like preparing you for what you know need, you know, someday, and you'll never go through more than you can handle. I'm like, oh my God, like what am I being prepared for? Like now I'm like, oh, okay, I see, huh. So in a way, it's like, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm really aligning with my calling, and things are really going to start taking off, but it's not going to come without challenge and intensity. Great, can't wait. I feel like when they put John Cusack in an action movie, and he's like not an action star, but he always gets caught up in the action, and he's like, what? It's kind of like, whoa, okay. The reluctant Messiah, right? All right. Final outcome here. I feel like it's that one that I see the back of. Forgiveness is what is being asked for. Holy shit, that's so true. To love our enemy, right? To see the people that we disagree with as wounded children, you know, who are in, you know, we're all these inner children in this big adult, you know, costume. And that's really who's driving the ship most of the time. And so the more that we throw slanderous disdain against people that we don't approve of, the more they double down in the darkness that we see in them. The more that we can, even though we see the darkness, try to also see that child within them that's been hurt, that's been abused, that's been put into a state of absolute survival and desperation for control, then we can start to ask to start feeling that compassion. It's a process. You may not be able to tap into that very easily, but it is a practice, it is a process. So we're being asked to love our neighbor and practice forgiveness as an active daily practice, maybe an hourly practice. I don't think forgiveness is absolute and final, like, oh, forgave, that was done. I think it is an ongoing choice that we have to make. So, and bitterness can build up quick. So it's like floss daily and forgive 7 times a day. All right, let's grab a few tarot cards to sort of give us a synopsis of our theme here. Let's see. Let's round up our themes. Ooh, we have the Empress, seated in our power, in that Taurus energy, that Venus energy of like being in the perfect balance of divine feminine and divine masculine, where you can sit, and they say sit and wait upon the Lord. It's like when you're not rushing out to try to force the situation or try to fix it or do anything until you're instructed and guided, and then you will be like catching the wave and supported by that energy. So the Empress can rest and sit in quiet, and then when she receives that divine inspiration, she can act on that inspiration, and because of that, she knows how to, you know, be fruitful and productive and blessed in her efforts. But be at peace, right? Don't let anything steal your peace, right? And the Empress is pregnant with new life. She's about to give birth to something new. The Queen of Swords sees through the BS. She sees it clearly. She is coming to tell it like it is. What the fuck? And you know, people have been saying this for many years now, that it is going to be the feminine that saves our humankind, that is coming up and leading the way, and the shift in consciousness is going to save and heal the planet and the people on it. So, you know, you see feminine leadership really showing up right now, and communicating and advocating on behalf of the elderly and the sick and the orphan, and you know, all the things that we think of as the goodly, just queen would protect her kingdom, right? But the Queen of Swords is about having very clear mindset and having a mind of her own and thinking for herself. She's an independent thinker, but she can communicate her ideas really effectively and charismatically. And so, you know, I don't know if the DNC, for instance, had their election today for their new chair, but it wouldn't hurt if they would think about Marianne Williamson, because she is definitely like a Queen of Swords. You know, she is a very compelling and wise and grounded and reasonable and sovereign woman who has the greater good for all in her heart. And so we need to practice this kind of balanced leadership and communication as we move forward, as we navigate these times. And you know, the Queen of Swords is very cunning, very savvy. She doesn't just go around trusting whatever is on the surface. She uses her instincts, and it's hard to gain her trust, but when you do gain her trust, you're like under her wing. So I think that's interesting as well. All right, here we go. What are these two? Oh, we've got the Knight of Cups. So a return of that creative inspiration, a feeling of hopefulness and lust for life is returning. But also, you know, the Knight of Cups at the lower octave, this can be someone who's a little bit of a con artist who offers, you know, big bold promises that they don't intend to follow through with. It's a lot of theater, it's a lot of show. This is like that narcissistic, charismatic narcissist that gets you and wins over your attention, and they build you up, and they like to suck, you know, all of that attention from you and your resources and your energy. And then once they've had their fill, they disappear, and it was all for them, and it was never about you, kind of thing. So be careful about that aspect of the Knight of Cups. But in the best sense, the Knight of Cups is creative and artistic and inventive and theatrical in a fun way, you know, and you know, like lively, like that life of the party person. So, you know, take opportunities to join in life and have that joy and have that inspiration, and, you know, don't be all work and no play right now. Eight of Cups is moving on to something, towards something with more meaning, to something with deeper meaning and deeper fulfillment, right? We're all ready for something new and something of meaning, and we want change. We want change within ourselves. We're ready for change within the world. And so we're ready to like start taking that journey towards that unknown destination. It's a hike over a mountain. It's challenging, you know, but I think we're ready to go on that quest for that final cup. And you know, we're ready to take on those challenges and the unforeseen, you know, experiences that we will have in that kind of adventure. But I think we're ready to do it. Look, the person has all their hiking gear on, so we're ready, we're prepared, and we're wearing the right footwear. All right, let's grab, you know what, before we get into our manifestation, let's grab an Angel Wisdom Tarot card, and then we will grab an Illumination card. One Angel Wisdom Tarot card. Ooh, what is, we have 9 of Pentacles. I love this. This is like enjoying the fruit of your labor. This is finding independence and being secure in oneself. You know, we don't have everything that we're looking for, but most of the pieces have fallen into place. And now we're looking for our final sort of like things, you know, the big manifestations, those big dreams to come true. But in the meantime, the bird represents the individual's connection to spirit and the Holy Spirit, and being guided and led and having fulfillment that comes from that relationship. And so that is the true source of their confidence. And so oftentimes the 9 of Pentacles is like the confident, successful business person. So again, you know, there's a lot of like new security, I think, that is possible. You know, during times of upheaval and disruption, those are also times for new ideas, and people create new businesses. I mean, look at all of the businesses and things and new streams of income, and how people were pushed out of their current comfort zone and stretched to grow during COVID and during the lockdown. So you never know how what is a shitty situation can lead to things that are positive on the other side. But that's where you have to keep that certainty that the creator can hoist the opponent by its own petard and turn the devil's plans upside down and use those to actually exalt the light. What do we have? Time for healing, the balsamic moon. So this, again, this is a time for healing. This is like having something come to the surface so we can see what was festering. So don't be discouraged, don't be overwhelmed, don't be overtaken, don't give up, don't do anything crazy. Just stay in faith, stay positive, and keep working towards that soul calling. We have weight that has just showed up, so don't rush into any action right now. Bide your time for better results. So again, Mars isn't direct yet. So you're going to be working against the tide. If you're doing anything right now out of a sense of desperation or panic or feeling backed against a wall, then that's a bad time to make a decision too. So bide your time for a minute, let your energy and your perspective settle down and shift, and then be praying in the meantime for that spiritual guidance, for that guidance from direction from the Holy Spirit. What do we have here? Empowerment. Ooh, you know what? We never pulled this card. You're more powerful than you realize, and it's safe for you to be powerful. So, you know, we don't need to feel powerless, right? Everything that we are doing within the work that we're doing within ourselves, and in little ways that we show that light out in the world, it makes a difference. And, you know, there is an agenda to make us feel disempowered and powerless. Like we just have to go along and be intimidated with whatever's happening. That's what bullies do. They intimidate you, and they want you to go along, and they want you to believe that you're powerless, and it's futile and pointless to try. And so that is the trick. of the Satan. That's the illusion. So we need to see that that's not true at all. In order for that even to be true, we have to buy into it. Curses only have power when you believe in them, right? So empowerment. You're more powerful than you realize. It is safe for you to be powerful. Treasure chest. An unforeseen windfall of new abundance comes to you now. So again, like even in the midst of like a slow season at work, I've had some really good shifts recently with the fewer tables than ever, fewer reservations. So it looks like the night is going to be completely bleak. I've held in there with faith that it can be a good night at work, and it has been. So again, keep that faith. Don't look at all the outer circumstances. You believe that whatever is in your spiritual bank account is yours, and it's already manifest in the spiritual realm. So when you need those things, those resources, they're yours to connect with. So an unforeseen windfall is coming your way. So keep feeling empowered. Keep feeling and believing, and don't make any sudden rash moves or actions right now. Consult an expert. So more information is needed. Contact someone with expertise in this area. So again, whatever it is that you are thinking around or tossing ideas around with or working on, you may need to contact an expert in this area. More information is needed. Contact someone with expertise. So some portion of your goals or your project might need a little bit more specific professional help. Okay, what do we need to know for our love lives for this next moon cycle? So very soon. So clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. You know, I've been meaning to like rewrite the manifestation list for the romantic partner. I did all of my other categories of manifestation for the year, but that was the last one. It's like a whole section in and of itself. So that's really good to do, is just get really clear on what kind of partner that you're looking for, so that you can be real and true to yourself and be yourself, so that you can find someone who's actually compatible with that and not try to fit into someone else's idea of perfection, but instead find someone who naturally vibes with what you're about also. We have attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So again, you know, reconnect to the moment, the present moment, being in joy, being in your body, stopping and smelling the roses. When you are in a sense of joy and you're present and you're calm and you're grounded, that is attractive. And so what you want, think about what it is that you want clearly. Be fully in love with the present moment, romance yourself, and that's going to really start like being a magnet to draw that in. And then you extend your playfulness, extend your playful energy to others. So to recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So again, like find ways to really indulge and connect in the moment. Allow your playfulness to shine and get really clear on what you want so it can come to you soon. Then what do we have here? Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. So, you know, you've got to be in a state of passion and playfulness and getting romantic and like get into the energy, I guess. Get clear on what you want and really get yourself into a feeling state of already being in it. Right? Don't project that it's coming into the future, but actually get a little delulu, and without putting a physical specific person in your mind, just imagine that that person is already in your life. And when you're going about your day, think about things in terms of, oh, what does my honey want to do later? What would when you're going to the grocery store, pretend that you are considering some of your groceries, like, oh, honey loves this, I'll grab this thing, cleaning up this side of the room or the nightstand, just making it like an imaginary connection to that person as if they're already there. What is the feeling? Get yourself into the feeling of what that would be like, of what kind of person that you're hoping to call in. If you are on a Sunday afternoon together, what is that Sunday afternoon going to feel like? When you're sitting on the couch watching your shows together, feel that person massaging your feet. Like, get in that state. Feel it as if it's already happening. That's what creates that magnetism. All right, last 2 cards. Let's get some motherly advice from Mother Mary, Jesus's mom. What do we got? Ooh, optimism and watched over. So comforting. Watched over. I allow myself to feel safe and enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. This is the same card we got protection on Tuesday. It was like protected. Your loved ones are safe and protected. So don't be afraid, right? Do not be anxious for your life. That's where Jesus' commands. And here we have optimism. I expect good things to happen, and they do. So stay optimistic, productively optimistic, not toxically positive. Okay, and now, grand finale, loving words from Jesus. What will our verse be to carry us through this month, this moon cycle? What do we have here? We have 2 cards. Ask and you shall receive, that your joy may be full. So ask and you shall receive, that your joy may be full. So ask with a joyful heart the things that your soul desires that will bring you joy and fulfillment. Ask because the Father wants to give you these things. He wants to give you these things. Your heavenly Father knoweth that you have need of all things. Can you believe that literally I'm saying this and I look at the card and it is literally finishing the sentence? So ask what you need. Ask for what you need, knowing that God knows. God knows everything that you need. And He knows, not like that's literally what I was just saying. Don't be anxious for your life. That is from the Sermon on the Mount. And it talks about, don't spend your time worried about what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear. Like the birds in the sky are fed by the earth, and God doesn't love them any more than He loves you. He knows that you need clothing. He knows that you need shelter. He knows that you need food. But seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all of these other things will be added unto you. So be at peace. Seek that joy. Seek that kingdom of heaven within, and everything is going to work out. But we are challenged in order for us to find that peace within high stakes. All right. So that is a lot to think about. I think this has been a really encouraging reading. Good luck and bless you through the rest of the month. Also, I have made a workshop, the 2025 prediction series. This is a tool you can use for the entire year as a reference tool. You will have a yearly overview, which is very similar to the format of the reading that we just did. And you will have journal questions in order to set your intention and your energy for the year to come. You will have quarterly overviews that are seasonal readings with their own corresponding questions to help you get into the themes and the consciousness that will be revealed during those and the challenges during those seasons. And then monthly overviews, which will give you the themes and patterns of each month and questions that will help you align your consciousness and workshop your process through the weeks of those months. So an invaluable resource. I've been using this for myself for the last several years, and it gives you so much more context and helps you prepare yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically, literally for the year to come. And also, when you see the whole year laid out as sort of like an outline, everything has so much more context and meaning. And it's like you're feeling like you're not wandering aimlessly, but you see that you are actually right on track the whole time. So It's an amazing resource. You can follow the link below to get that. Download it for $10 in my Stan store. And you should probably use a Chrome browser when you go to Stan. I think that Chrome works, but Safari can be sticky. So, all right, y'all. Bless ya. Ciao.